Let's get started with today's Monday morning message. Your 20-minute cure to Monday blues. Today, I want to be speaking about past is not equal to future. Let me tell you something. As we move forward in life, we accumulate a lot of experiences from the past. And those experiences that we had, we create meanings and stories out of that. For example, if you failed an exam one time, you maybe created a meaning that examinations are very tough. Maybe if you failed in business one time, you created a meaning that business is very tough. All these meanings we create. Let's say you ate an ice cream and you created a meaning ice creams are tasty. This then helps us operate as we go in the future. Oftentimes, what happens is we create some meanings that were okay at that point, but they don't serve us in the future. For example, if you failed in an examination, if you failed in business, you keep thinking about, oh my God, this is very risky, this is very tough. And as you go into the future, you carry that past, you carry that burden. You fell in love, but you got a heartbreak. And now you can't be open to love. You can't love somebody. You can't take somebody in your life because you have a fear of being in love. You have a fear of getting your heart broken. And guys, this past often carries into the future. We know when we think about it, past is not equal to the future, but oftentimes we keep repeating the same again and again because we have the same stories, the same belief systems running in our head that happened in the past. Person fails in business once, twice, thrice. They say, I'm never going to do business again. Even though they have years and years left. Why? Because they had created a story from the past. Today we're going to be talking about how can you break free? How can you potentially change the past in a way that you don't carry it in the future? So are you interested to know? Are you interested to hear? Yes, I suppose you are. Awesome. So guys, there are three steps. There are three steps in which you can change. You can break the cycle. You cannot carry the past into the future. There are three things that you got to do to shift, to alter and change the past, so that it does not carry into the future. If you failed in business, if you had a heartbreak, so that you can be open again, you can love again, you can start your business again. If you tried a diet, it didn't work. Now you're thinking, it's impossible for me to lose any weight or get healthy. That's not the reality. The past is not equal to the future. The future is fresh, but we're creating the same future because of the same beliefs that we're carrying from the past. And how to shift it. Guys, three simple steps. You ready? Note it down. Number one is awareness. You gotta be aware of what you gotta change. If you're not aware of what you want to change, you will never be able to change it. If you're not aware of, oh, I do suffer from a heartbreak from the past, you cannot change and open up to love and a new possibility of love in your life. If you're not aware that, oh, I need to get healthy, you are not going to be opening up to bringing health into the future in your life, right? So awareness is key. And I think for most of us, we know which area is not working in our life. Awareness is also not a big problem. When it comes to very deep, dark stuff, that might be different. But in general, we know, we are aware of what is working, what is not working. If you need to get better at being aware, one great tip is journaling. You need to start journaling. You can start writing down, okay, how are you feeling? Because oftentimes we have these feelings, but we're not aware of exactly what it is. So if you write it down, it brings that awareness up. So number one is awareness. When you get aware, you start the process of changing the past so that it does not carry into the future, because past is not equal to future. The point number two, that is very important, and most people miss this step. And that's why they're not able to create a lasting change in the future, is acknowledge. Yes, so I get aware that there is something I need to change. Acknowledging is about accepting it, that this is the way the situation is for me. I am this and I did this. Oftentimes, people in their head are like, this is how things are, but I am not like this. I don't know why this is happening to me. This is an external thing. This is not something that I do. And they are not acknowledging or accepting the reality of the situation as it is. For example, you have a very close friend, you have a very dear friend, and they got a new car, and you feel jealous within yourself. It can arise. We're human beings. But you try to brush it away. Doesn't work. Accepting and acknowledging means recognizing the feeling that you got. That is not you. It is an occurrence right now. But if you stay away, if you don't accept that I am feeling jealous, you will not be able to change that feeling. Only what you accept, acknowledge, do you have the power to change. You do not have the power to change something that you do not accept or acknowledge. So guys, this is a big secret that I'm giving you in one line. Only when you accept something, only when you acknowledge something as, yes, this is how the situation is, this is how the moment is right now, do you have the power to change it. And most people, when they want to change their beliefs, they want to change carrying their past into the future, they miss this step, and that's why they're not able to do it. I have done many mistakes like that, and I'm going to share a big example from my own life, something very personal with you all. So number one was awareness, being aware of what you want to change. Number two is acknowledging that yes, this is how it is. I'm feeling jealous. I am unhealthy. I am going through this. And then third is alteration. Third is easy. Third is simple. We all know about it. How to alter something. How to make a new possibility. How to create a new possibility. How to shift. And alteration can happen by taking a mini action. Something very small. You don't have to take a big action. But alteration can start with making a mini action. If you got jealous, you accept it. And alteration can be, maybe you write 5 things that you're grateful for your friend, so that the feeling of jealousy goes. Alteration can be you go and speak to your friend that, hey, I really love you. I don't know, but when you got the car, I had these feelings of jealousy, and maybe I need to work a little bit upon my self-esteem. So just even that conversation, that mini action is already shifting and altering. So altering is about taking a mini action. So let me review the steps real quick. Oftentimes, we carry the past into the future because of our old belief system, because of the story that we created. And in order to change, we need 3 things. We need to do 3 things. Number one, be aware of what we need to change. We are usually good at this, and if you're not very good at this, maybe you can write your current feelings. If you're going through a tough time, if you write, you become more aware, because then you have to put things into words. Number 2 is acknowledging. I think the most important step. Oftentimes we distance ourselves from what's happening. We say, this is not us, this is just there. But when you accept, when you acknowledge that yes, this is the reality of right now, then you have the power to change. Only then can you shift something. And the third is altering, making the shift. And making the shift will happen with a very teeny mini action. Let me give you an example. So guys, I was a young teenager, and this is about 2017, I think. 2013. I was about 18 years old or something. And guys, at this age, for about, some months here, I don't remember, I was really in some way addicted to pornography or blue films. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like young teenager watching a bunch of these, blue X-rated films. And honestly, as a child, I was disgusted when I first heard that there were such films, maybe at the age of 13, 14, and I discovered some of my friends used to watch it. I was really disgusted. I thought, Naren, you can never do this. This is something very bad. This is something very ew. So you can never do this, Naren. This is not you at all. But as years went by, maybe by the age of 15, 16, I saw myself also getting attracted, addicted, and watching these things, watching such films, to the point where for a course of 1 or 2 years, I used to watch them. Not that I was watching them every day, but maybe on a weekly basis. I was addicted to them in some way. Maybe it was not a very strong addiction, but I needed it. I needed to watch it. As a young teenager, I was very intrigued and enthralled by it. All these blue films and pornography movies. And so I was struggling with it, guys. I was struggling with it because I knew I wanted to shift out of this, but I was caught in a loop. I was caught in a loop where I couldn't leave it because it was just something so pleasurable to watch, something that was so easy to go to anytime I needed. And so I tried to change it. I tried to shift it. There was a past where, let's say for a few months I had watched it, but I was carrying it into the future. I was carrying it into the next week, the next months, continued to watch it, and I couldn't break the cycle. And I don't know how, and I don't know why. How could I break it? Because this is how we try to change the past, right? We see something, we become aware of something, and then we try to alter it. So I used to make myself a promise that I'm not going to watch it again. I'm not going to do it. This is not me. I used to distance myself as if this was not me, because I was this good guy. I don't know why I was just doing this, but in some ways psychologically I used to distance myself. This is not me. And I used to just try and alter it, and it never worked. But guys, I don't know, I stumbled upon this, what I shared with you, the 3 steps, and I by chance, by mistake, happened to execute these 3 steps. This is how I did it. So whenever my friends used to ask me, do you watch pornography, or do you engage in such activities, I used to be like, nah, or maybe like brush it away as if it's too bad, I don't do it, but I actually used to do it, or show that I'm not so I'm disinterested in it, I'm not so into it, right? When in fact I was. This is what shifted with me. This one day, I don't know why, I decided that I really need to stop. I don't want to do this. I learned about how the industry works and how it's really bad for the people working in the industry, especially the women, etc. And I had this resolve that I need to stop watching this. It's not going to run my life. This is not something I should derive entertainment about. So I got really aware. So that's step number 1, awareness. The second step that I used to always skip, somehow magically, luckily, by grace, occurred. And that's what shifted for me. So I had this really special friend, this close friend of mine, and it was her birthday coming up. It was her birthday coming up in 2013. And for the first time, I genuinely acknowledged within myself and then to my friend that, hey, you know what? I have been watching a lot of these films, these pornographic and blue films. Before this, I used to always brush it away. I used to think this is not me. This is just something happening right now in my life. I used to never accept it. I used to never acknowledge it. And that was the problem. Since I didn't accept it, since I didn't acknowledge it, I never had the power to change it. Because I always thought it was distant from me, I could never change it. Can you change anything from afar? If I want this bottle and it's kept there, I can't make any change. Only when I take it can I open the cap and make a change. Only when I accept, acknowledge, bring something in my aura and field, can I change it. And so, for the first time ever, magically, no one taught me this, but I had this desire, and so I acknowledged and accepted, and even told my friend that, hey, I am having trouble and issue with watching pornography, and I need to stop. I accepted it for the first time. It took a little bit of ego sacrifice, right? Because I couldn't be somebody like that. Naren, you're such a nice guy, everybody calls you such a nice guy, but can you share this? I don't know how, magically, by grace, I felt comfortable also in sharing with that person, and I shared. And then the third thing, then the third step is, after you are aware, you acknowledge, the third step is what? Is altering. Only when you accept and acknowledge can you then make a shift, alter, by taking a small step. And for me, that small step was telling that very special friend that, hey, I make a promise that I am not going to watch pornography from now on. I'm going to stop watching blue films. This was in 2013, middle of the year, around the summer months, monsoon months. I'm going to stop watching blue films. And that commitment, in some way, was a mini action towards change. And guys, let me tell you something. I'm so glad that I did that. I stumbled upon these 3 steps that I'm talking about. And since then, since that day, since I acknowledged, my watching of pornography dramatically went down. I didn't watch it for months. And maybe after that, once in a while I have in the past for sure. But if it was probably 95%, it went down to 5%. Can you imagine that? That was a big shift for me. That was a big shift for me because I acknowledged and accepted the second step, which is the most important step in not carrying the past in the future. And before that, I thought I was always carrying my past into the future. I was always carrying it for a year, 2 months. But that day, the shift was that I did these 3 steps. Aware, acknowledge, alter. Aware by either writing or being really thoughtful. Acknowledge by accepting that this is how things are right now and not distancing myself from it. Acknowledging it. And third was altering it by taking a mini action, by giving a word, by giving a promise to my friend. And guys, since that day, it dramatically dropped. I didn't feel that I had the need to watch it. Of course, it was still a process, but it was a much more powerful process that started. And to the point where, of course, now for months, years, like, I don't need it. I don't have any power of it. It doesn't call me. And I am not ruled by some industry that's trying to get me addicted to their videos by showing me pornography and blue films. So guys, I'm telling you, I stumbled upon this luckily, but I have been able to practice this lately in many other areas of life. This is how you don't carry the past into the future. This is how you can establish past is not equal to future. These 3 steps, so powerful. Guys, I had to share my story with you, to show you, to tell you, to make sure you receive that it is possible, but only when you acknowledge and accept the second most step. I'm always happy to be here live Monday 9 a.m. India time with you guys, sharing a new message, and I can't wait to continue that.